feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank. When it's sink or swim, only option is to win. In the murky water, not a thought of giving in. Welcome to the shrimp tank. Want to put it all together, this is big thanks. Doing big things, we ain't in the same league. Running a campaign, Roadie 2016. Like a phone to die, putting me in charge. I'm a general, from the front I'ma lead the charge. Like a federal, fell on my lap never. Going hard as ever.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another episode here on the Shrimp Tank, powered by Celsius Beverage. This podcast is powered by the Florida Atlantic University. I'm joined with my co-host, Dr. Kevin Cox. Kevin, this is our season opener. What is new with FAU these days?
Oh, all kinds of stuff. Brand new class, brand new semester. We've got our entrepreneurship students right here in the podcast studio, which is fantastic. Get to connect with some more business owners. We've got a networking event coming up on the 29th at Yard House. Everybody's welcome to come to that, including past guests on the show, accelerator, alumni, current accelerator, startup companies. We got a whole new class of ventures in our program, and some of them are fantastic. We're seeing a lot of success and growth from our startups ecosystem. And I just expect it to continue and really keep going. We're going to be doing a bunch of stuff this fall. So stay tuned, pay attention, keep an eye out for the emails, and come to the events. Let's go.
Yeah, but that means people have to network in person, Kevin. You don't like to always be in person talking to people, do you?
Oh, no, I'm always in person. I'll be at everything and at everywhere. So it's going to be an exciting semester, but let's get right into the show. We started a couple minutes late today. So we've got a fantastic guest here. Sydney Hughes is joining us. She is the CEO and founder of Senior Proof, which we'll learn all about. But Sydney, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
One of the things we try to teach all our students, it's like the second week, so we haven't taught them yet, but is how to deliver a fantastic elevator pitch, right? Just 60 seconds.
Right.
Who they are, what they do, why they do it, just a quick summary that you could deliver on a short elevator ride. And I'm going to put you on the spot to kick off the show with your elevator pitch to let these students know what you're all about.
All right. I haven't done this in a couple of years, so I might be a little rusty. Hi, everyone. My name is Sydney Hughes. I'm the founder and CEO of Senior Proof. 5 years ago, I found my dad laying on the floor. He was between the bed and the master bathroom door. So I was trying to juggle a 3-year-old, a husband, caregiving for my dad. And I really just wanted to hand over my credit card and say, I don't care what it takes, just Senior Proof the home. There wasn't a company out there like that. So just like Shark Tank and Shrimp Tank, I walked up to my husband and I said, I have this idea, and it is a $300 billion market. By 2030, we're going to be outnumbered by our aging population. So right now, it is a time to invest to prevent falls and save lives nationwide.
Nice.
What are you going to rank that? I give that a 9.5, Kev.
Yeah, that's a great elevator pitch.
And it's important to recognize why. She told a story, right? When you tell a story, people resonate with it. So often people are pitching a product, and it doesn't make much sense to them. It doesn't resonate. But when you tell a story, especially a family life story, it definitely makes a lot of sense. We're going to get right into our game show today. So come on down. Lily created this very unique show for us, and then future students are going to do the same thing.
All right. Welcome to this season's first game show on the Shrimp Tank podcast. So today we're going to play a game called Pitch, Pivot, or Pass. So for each prompt that I'm going to say, you're going to tell me whether or not you would want to pitch the idea, as in you would go for it, or you would pivot and change something about the business idea, or it's a complete hard pass, start over. All right. You'll have about 20 seconds to explain your thinking. I'll be the judge, so pressure's on. We're going to start with Jason.
Okay.
All right. So your first business idea is an AI app that automatically negotiates your rent with the landlord.
Ooh. I'm going to pass. I've had a tough 5 years building my mobile app, Owl. And mobile apps tend to fail 99.9% of the time. Even though you're solving a problem, you need so much capital to bring that app to the market. And that problem, you need such market exposure and such marketing efforts. So I'm going to pass.
Okay, sounds good. And then to our guest speaker, Sydney, your prompt is a subscription box for college students that delivers one useful item per month under $10.
What kind of product are they getting?
It's going to be a useful product that college students can use in their dorm.
Looking for students. No. I would pivot it a little bit. I think the idea of helping college students makes sense, right? Make it accessible. But I think with Amazon or at your fingertips, I think maybe now that I think about it, say it out loud, maybe I pass.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. And then Kevin, for your business idea, an Uber style on demand babysitting app.
Ooh.
I feel like they
You might
probably
need this.
have
You might
that.
need this.
Pretty sure it exists.
Yeah, I'd probably pitch, maybe pivot a little bit, right? As long as you have, validated, verified security, kind of unlike Uber, right? You do a little better job than that, then I'm pitching. I think that makes sense. It's convenient, it's easy, it's fast, it's agile. Pay a little bit more, they make money off the top. I like it.
Okay. And back to Jason, a coffee shop where drink prices increase the longer you stay.
Ooh, interesting.
Oh, you're a coffee shop guy.
I do. I drink coffee every morning. I'm a Starbucks guy. But a pivot, right? I kind of understand what they're saying. Like somebody is hanging out at the coffee shop, so that costs them rent, right? Rents are expensive, but there's got to be a pivot. You have to. I mean, we're seeing this actually in Orlando with cats, right? There's a cat cafe, and they could obviously find other ways of revenue sources than to charge your actual individual that is drinking coffee. So I'm gonna say pivot.
Cat cafe sounds like a nightmare.
Yes. Well, especially if you're allergic, but for cat lovers, people come there and then of course adopt a cat. It's adoption side of that.
It's the
as well.
worst.
I don't know. It's real. Go to Orlando.
So is there coffee involved?
Yeah. You just go to a cafe with cats and coffee. Yes.
Does
I
the
haven't
hair
been
get
there.
in the
I saw
coffee?
it on TikTok. I'm not sure the whole end of the business.
All right. Back to our guest, Sydney, for a LinkedIn business, but only for blue collar trades. So plumbers, electricians, HVAC.
Well, we are general contractors, and we have a lot of those subcontractors that work for us. So I'm going to say, because I've done my due diligence, it's a no. It's a hard pass.
Really?
They barely know how to send invoices, let alone work an app.
Hmm.
Not everyone, but most of them.
Shots
So,
fired.
I'm a construction girl, ladies and gentlemen. 18 years, got tough skin.
Kevin, a dating app that matches people based on ambition and career goals.
They kind of have one like that. I think there's enough of those. I think there's too many of those. I pass.
Okay. And then back to Jason, an AI tool that automatically creates social media posts for small businesses.
Pass. It exists already. Right. There's so many platforms out there that do it. So if you're going to go after that market, it's too saturated already. So I'm going to pass.
Okay. And then back to Sydney, a gym membership that charges per visit instead of a monthly fee.
Oh, I like it. I would pitch that. I would. Maybe one day. I know the Class Pass exists, and it's very, very choppy. So I think there could be a better version of that. So absolutely, yes.
Okay. And then Kevin, an app that tells you when to quit your job based on savings and stress levels.
We'd have no employees.
Yeah. I'm going to pass on that one. Again, the apps, the leverage. It's funny though. I like the concept.
Okay. And Jason, a food delivery app that only delivers healthy meals in under 30 minutes.
Back to pivot. It exists already. We had Fit Food Fresh on the podcast in the past, and they do that. Maybe not necessarily in 30 minutes, but there's so many platforms that are healthy related, and there has been one that really sticks out, like that took over the entire market. So there's got to be a pivot in there.
Okay. Well, that completes all of our prompts. I will say that it is a tie between Jason and our guest star, Sydney Hughes.
This game's fixed.
Sorry, Kevin. Kevin
This game
never
is
agrees with
rigged.
the rules. Do we have a tiebreaker? Do we have a tiebreaker? It could be number based, so one of us has to get it right.
Sure. We can do a last question for the both of you. Instead of a prompt, how about you describe to me one pitch, pivot, or pass moment that shaped your entrepreneurial journey?
Sydney, I'll let you do the honors.
So this is literally what's happening right now in real time. So the service part of it, right? We prevent falls, save lives, modify homes to the aging population. That's the model, but the app is coming out right now. So that's the pivot that's happening right now. It's already done. We now haven't promoted it. The commercial was shot 2 weeks ago. The technology is going to support the service side instead of starting with the technology and then building the service side, kind of like the Uber would do. They started with the tech and then brought the service. I did it the other way around. So I think this model may work. I'm hoping it works a little better, but that's what the MVPs are for. Does anybody know what an MVP is?
Not quite yet, but they will. This is a minimum viable product. This is kind of the 1.0 version where you're testing the market, you're fixing bugs, you're analyzing demand, you're seeing what features maybe you need to build out more of. It's really where you start identifying the technological roadmap for the future product, if things go well. I've been involved with a lot of MVPs that the customers hated. So sometimes that will prompt a pivot.
Well, I'll talk about my current pivot that's happening in the last 10 days. So I become well known for building the mobile app Owl, which connects professionals through one-on-one audio phone calls. And for years and years, I stuck to that model where, you wanted to make a call or take a call. You spent money to go onto the app and call somebody, or you can make money. But we live in a world where everybody uses texting, right? So about 10 days ago, we launched paid text messaging. And within a matter of 10 days, we're seeing 4 or 5 times the amount of revenue coming in through paid messaging. So now when we have a guest like Sydney on the Shrimp Tank, right? Students that are sitting in the audience can literally pay to get VIP access to text her. Obviously, everybody could text her on Instagram as well as LinkedIn, but those have their own set of issues. If you're not connected with her yet on LinkedIn, you have to wait for her to accept your connection request. And Instagram, it often goes in the spam folder, right? And people in Sydney's shoes often get so many DMs every single week, she can't possibly answer them all. But with Owl, when she receives a paid text message, she's more inclined to open it because she knows that person on the other end is taking her time serious. So we had a major pivot, and I hope after 5 years of building and scaling Owl, that takes our app to the next level. We have about 10,000 people, and I hope that brings in millions of people and makes major impact to this world.
Awesome. Those are great responses, guys.
But Sydney clearly wins because Jason just did an Owl commercial. So that settles the game. All right. Way to go. Way to go.
I get a round of applause for that one, right?
You are the winner. You are the winner.
And a special thanks to Lily, who works in our entrepreneurship programs as a strategic initiatives manager and the podcast experience manager. Thanks, Lily, for putting that together.
It's fun.
Okay. Well, Sydney, this element of the show, we want to learn about your backstory as an entrepreneur, and then tell us, of course, about Senior Proof, how you got there. So let's start in your early days, right? How did you start out with a 9-to-5, for example, and then eventually become an entrepreneur, or you had entrepreneurship in your roots and you immediately became one?
So I'm originally from Queens, New York. I moved down here around when I was like 21, and I just jumped into construction. So I was a project administrator for the Haskell Company. It's a big GC based out of Jacksonville. And I was really lucky enough to work on the job site, building the Susan B. Anthony building in Pembroke Pines. And so on the job site, especially being a 21-year-old young woman, I think only 2% of women in construction. So I could imagine, I'm being from New York. I love, I'm straight to the point. I'm direct. I curse a little bit. That's who I am to the core. So I think construction was always a great career for me. And so when I founded the company, I was a financial controller for a big developer in Aventura, and I was there for about 7 years. And I had my wedding during that career. I had my first child during that career. And I'll never forget the day that I was trying to juggle helping my dad. He lived in Orlando. So I was driving every 2 weeks between my brother and I to go help him and take his medication and take him to his doctor's appointments. And I had a 3-year-old also. And I had a husband. It's a lot for a woman. Okay. You guys are a lot of work. It's a lot of work to juggle everything. So I remember going to my work wife, Pam, and I was defeated one day. I said, I'm just so burnt out. I'm so I'm about to lose my mind. I'm trying to do all this stuff. And I have this vision of Senior Proof. She's like, well, you know what you have to do? You just have to quit. right? And it's so much easier said than done. I was
Yeah.
making over $100,000. I was making a good career. I was so happy there, but I knew that this vision and this mission was mine and it was my legacy. And so what I did was I went from a big salary to $0.00. And I started and I bootstrapped it for about 3.5 years. We just secured a contract with Lowe's for 248 stores in North Carolina and Florida. And I realized I need working capital, baby. I need to grow this, and I can't do it just bootstrapping it. So it's really exciting to grow the company and prevent falls and save lives. But my dad was my first client. My dad was my first, I senior proofed his house, right? In a project that should have taken maybe 3 weeks tops to do, like converting a tub to a walk-in shower, maybe put in some grab bars, some bed rails, took like 3 months because nobody knew what they were doing. The handyman didn't know what they were doing. They didn't know what ADA standards were. That's more for commercial. So the value proposition for me was bringing in the construction experience I already had, but more importantly, being a woman, because what we sell is not grab bars. What we sell is peace of mind, right? And being a woman, I think really works to my benefit, because not only do I look at bathrooms, the bathroom space or somebody's home, I don't want it to look like a hospital. I want it to look like a beautiful luxury home. And I think women have that touch, right? Have that design touch. So I always say that the legacy is bigger than me. It is a mission-based company. So I'm really happy to have my team, Jami, here also with me today, supporting me and being part of the team as we grow nationwide. But the reality is that we are a construction company run by women. I think we have 1 or 2 guys on payroll. And it says a lot, because we really want to create, a mission-based company that we sell with heart. We're not just selling to sell. Right? We're working beyond that.
So that's a wild story. My students are a little bit newer to entrepreneurship, so they may not recognize yet just how hard it is. So you were burnt out at the job and you decided to start something from complete scratch, brand new, with, no direct experience in that specific niche, though plenty of construction experience, obviously. That's risky and a wild move if you're already burnt out, because again, they may not know this yet, but in the beginning you're, sure, you're CEO and founder, but also CMO and CTO and C everything, C-level, the whole company, right? So you have to wear a lot of different hats. Let's talk more about your business model. That's one of the things we'll get into in this class. Who is your target market, right? Like your specific customers? Does it tend to be the parents themselves who actually have the problem, or typically the younger demographic, the children who you're working with directly? Or is it kind of a multi-segmented market with, well, sometimes it's the parents, sometimes it's the children, maybe it's a collaboration? What does that picture look like? Who do you market to?
It's a great question. So when I founded the company, I called myself the Chief Everything Officer, not CEO. Chief Everything Officer is, to your point, right?
Yep.
But the reality is we jumped right into government. We were contracted for 700 homes with the Department of Elder Affairs, and the power of networking and being in the right room in the right space and sharing the mission with the right people. Government is what we started off with. So for 3.5 years, that's all we did was government. We just got contracted for another 300 homes with HUD and the Department of Aging in New York. So government is very, very big for us. Healthcare, United Healthcare is a client, Sunshine Health is a client as well. But the B2C market, which is a bit direct to consumer, would be the caregivers, right? Unfortunately, our seniors, there is an ego to aging. It's like taboo, right? They're like, I'm fine. I don't need the grabber. I don't need anything. The tub is fine. I could get over it, and I'm sure everybody has a beautiful grandmother or grandfather in this room that may be a little stubborn, right? And so it really falls on your mom and dad to help them, right? And create that safe space and make sure that they're aging in place successfully. So we do have different sales funnels. We do have different marketing campaigns for different messaging, right? Messaging is critical, right? For the caregiver, it's peace of mind, and that's what the app is going to be and all that. And for the government, it's more of a pitch of lowering readmission rates and saving lives and keeping people at home. Healthcare, it's combating social isolation. Like every messaging is different. So whoever you're targeting, making sure that messaging is crystal clear is critical.
Okay, I got a question coming in from the audience, right? So what kind of additional value do you add? We hear a lot about AI, right? Like what if I were to just go on AI and say, how can I future-proof my parents' house? What would be the distinction from trying to do that like on my own, like it sounds like you did for your parents in the first kind of pilot, versus what your company does today?
So our value proposition is that everybody's level 2 background check. They go through Senior Proof University. So we're teaching, the model consists of occupational therapists and care team members that are Senior Proof certified to go out do the evaluation. So the estimator, quote unquote, is not the technician. It's not a handyman that comes in and is like, oh, I'm going to put these in, or the contractor. It is, the model is healthcare focused. So we are going in with those different lens. And I always tell people too, AI is going to be the future, but AI is not going to change out your toilet. Okay, AI is not going to take that tub into walk-in shower conversion. AI is not going to, do the manual fixes and putting that bidet in. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So the reality is that the value proposition has to be on the courses. Senior Proof University, we're teaching our technicians on empathy training. We have to teach these blue-collared men how to say, "I hear you, I understand. Let's walk through it." Right. And then I have to teach our occupational therapists on what a door jamb is and what a threshold ramp is, because they don't know construction. Occupational therapists are the originals of fall prevention. So they are taught and they go to school for fall prevention. That is what we do. We're a fall prevention contractor. So I always like to use occupational therapists because they come with their own medical lens, but we come in with the construction. So I think, to your point, the level 2 background check, Senior Proof University, installing per ADA guidelines, you're absolutely right. AI will give you some of the features, but no, AI is not going to install it for you.
And you have any specific products that you invented that go into the installation, or
yes,
are you using?
You'll have to sign an NDA for that one.
Are you using third-party items, of course, when you're talking about a railing, for example, or something to protect the edges of a bed if there's a sharp corner and it's wood? So I'm trying to understand, like, my mother's in her 80s. She lives on her own, and of course, like, she's a perfect fit. Like, she needs to do this at her home, and it is a major concern with my family that it's going to take one corner and one slip, and she'll be right back in the hospital again, of course, which has happened in the past. So kind of explain kind of like the products that you have, I guess, versus things right off the shelf.
So Senior Proof has a product line. I developed my own bed rail for a couple of reasons. They're so ugly. Okay, let's talk about that. They're just hideous. They look like you're in a hospital. So mine is white and it's got curves and it's classy. It's nice. It's pretty, it's aesthetically pleasing, and it holds up to 300 pounds. It's adjustable for 24, 48. But like the caregiver latch, it's got all the things. But to be Senior Proof endorsed, that's something that I think we're going to start doing more, is like endorsing that product, because there are so many products out there. In fact, if I could tell you how many times I've gone to the president of Lowe's and told them, if you do not take off suction grab bars off of your website, I'm going to, like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm trying to blackmail them or something. No, but the reality is, like, they are the best sellers. So they're still a for-profit company but they're not safe. So these suction grab bars, I don't know if you've ever seen them, but they look like a little, it looks like a grab bar, but it's got two plastic things that they like suck into the wall. But the reality is, like, they're so safe. It gives a false sense of security. So the product line is a non-negotiable, but right now, I'm a visionary, so I see things, 5 years down the line. Right now, our focus is on the app and the rollout with Lowe's, right? But in the future, the product line will be inevitable.
And what's the price range? Because something with elderly is they tend to be on the cheaper side, right?
Yeah.
They want to negotiate everything. They're like, it's going to cost me this or that to do it. And often they want to shop around a lot. Obviously, there's not many competitors in your space, but I'm just trying to wrap my head around it, where you come in for a consultation and then there's a price. So where is the price ranging, I guess, like on the low end versus the high end? Because I'm assuming there's a lot of customizations. There's condos, right, all the way up to 10,000 square foot homes. Right. So it kind of, just to give our audience kind of an idea of what we're speaking about.
So the range of our services, so everything that we install, everything's included. So it is product, the service, construction, debris after taking it to dumpster site, everything is included. So on average, ticket price is about $2,000 to $3,000 per home. And you're absolutely right, everything is custom. So there's no fall prevention package. There's no grab bar package, because we realize that while they may need grab bars, they may need lighting or whatever, every home is different, and every member is different. So sometimes we go into a member's home and they have Parkinson's, and then we go into a 50-year-old home that has MS, and then we go into another home and it's an 80-year-old solo ager. So every member is different. Every home is different. So for us to like give you a package number, and you're right, some of our projects go up to from 2,000 up to 50,000, right? We've done big, beautiful remodels and curbless showers and all that. but we have to make sure that we look at the member first. And when we did a walkthrough with the president of Lowe's at one of our members' homes, they quickly realized that they couldn't do the assessment. Why can't they do the assessment? Because the person that was in the home that we were assessing had dementia and sang them a song 3 times before we even left the house. Okay. And so it's such a human touch. And that's why a lot of our care team and occupational therapists are women, right? And it's not to leave the men out, because you guys are still doing all the installations. It's you need to hold the member's hand, and you have to hold your mom's hand and your aunts and uncle's hands, because they are completely and utterly stressed. So nobody's calling me proactive. Nobody's saying, you know what, I think my grandmother is aging, and I think, you know what's going to happen? They're going to wait until they fall, and they're going to panic, and then they're going to call us. And that is why I'm here today. And that's why I do these type of things, for not only for brand awareness, but because of like being proactive to the aging process is important to get that message out to everyone, to your moms and to your dads. So don't wait until the fall. Don't wait until they're in their hospital. You do it now. You do it proactively. You do it doesn't have to be through us. And that's why when we give our recommendations, we don't charge anybody anything, right? We give you those recommendations. If you want to go have a fulanito do it for half the price, or you want to have a handyman who's going to break your wall, you do it. Let them do it. But at least you are educated on what you need to do at your home. And that's where the heart comes in. There needs to be profit and passion that comes together. And I think that's what we're trying to build.
Yeah, that entry level price sounds totally reasonable too. All right, I got a couple more questions about the business model, and let's take some questions from the students. So the first one is there also sort of a commercial market segment, right? We see these assisted living facilities coming up all over in South Florida. Do they kind of handle their own stuff and have a standard way, or are you looking at kind of new construction and more commercial grade opportunities as well, or strictly residential?
New construction, we are in the talks with some big developers, but that ADA is more for commercial sense,
Sure.
right? So, but every home and every member is distinct, right? So we just took a door frame for one of our members a couple weeks ago, and they were a stroke victim. And what we did is we took the door and we flipped it the other way around, so the handle could face the other way. Naturally, it's not something that we usually do, but that member needed it. So it's hard to do new builds, not knowing who the end audience is. Assisted living facilities, you could build for a whole market using ADA, but within every home will be distinct. So that's where the model is going to try to fit into after build. How can we help to create that safer space for that customized member?
Okay, great. My last question, again, about the business model. So tell us and explain to the class about this Lowe's deal. It's very exciting, but when I think of Lowe's, I think of a place where I buy products, and it sounds like this has a huge service component. So are you just selling kind of products through, or is there more to it than that? What does that arrangement look like? Because again, I think of Lowe's as like, I go buy the stuff and then try to install it, make a mess, try to figure it out, like those kind of things. Then I go back to Lowe's because I'm missing a thing, like that stuff.
Right. Yeah. So I'm all about quality over quantity. And that goes for my friendships, that goes for my business, that goes for the people that I stand around with. And Lowe's is quality over quantity. And I don't get paid to say that for them, right? When I go to Home Depot, I get overwhelmed, and there's all these GCs running around, getting the contractor line is so long. So when we're doing these 700 homes, my guys were in and out of Lowe's at a third of the time that they were sitting there at Home Depot picking up all the material. But the 248 stores that were contracted with them, we are their only aging in place service. So meaning you go to Lowe's, you need windows, you need roofing, you need flooring, you go to Lowe's, right? You go to Lowe's, they have a service provider, same concept there. When there's a grab bar, when there's a senior, when there's somebody needs for wheelchair ramp, we are their only and sole aging in place provider, right? And that's only in 2 states. We're already in the talks for another 5 states this year, which is exciting, but we have to grow the workforce. We have to do some heavy lifting on our end too, to grow with them, because we're still a startup. And that's where I got investors, which is, I'm sure, going to be a question at some point as well. Investors.
Kevin, you got to love her business model, right? There are so many opportunities. Like, she could work with estate planning attorneys, right? And that could be a lead source. So there's
and I mean, she said it right at the beginning.
And it's at Lowe's, where they're going right to the shelves to pick out items. I mean, this is a business that has such exponential growth, of course.
Yeah, not to mention the socio-demographics of our aging population, which are just going to naturally take its course.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're going to pivot the show to have some students come on up. So if you're a student sitting in the live audience, one at a time, come on down, and you're more than welcome to introduce yourself and ask Sydney a question. Go for it.
Sounds good. Hello, everyone. My name is Henry, and I got a question more related to the women-based companies. You said that was a big competitive advantage, and I wanted just some more information about it, and also if you see this as a trend coming up to the following years in the U.S. or in the world.
Women in general, or
more like a women-based company where like the majority of the employees are women.
So when I started hiring, I didn't know how biased I was with women until I started hiring. But the reality is that we equally need our men and our technicians and our project managers, our construction guys, they're all men. But on the operational side and administrative side, I realized because the model includes women and the OT is going out, and why do I put women other than men? Not that I pick them, but I hire more women. It's because they're already OT trained, and the majority of OTs are women, right? A lot of people in that healthcare. Yeah. Now, as far as women, we are still very much not there yet. And how I knew that we're not there yet was when I started like raising money and capital. I'm part of this big network of women entrepreneurs and executives. I was pitching all these women. We're not there yet. We don't have the money just yet. Men still have the majority of the power and the money when it comes to investing in that space. But I'm so excited to see women like the CEO of Transamerica, the big CEOs, Ingenuity, the PepsiCo. Like there's a lot of badass women out there that are growing, and I hope to follow in those footsteps. But to Jami's here, and she could vouch, is that half of the time I'm not only hiring them, I am mentoring them. Nice. And I'm mentoring them to not only walk into a room with their head up high, because every woman needs and deserves to be in a room. We just don't know it yet. And that's what I think that's going to be my second calling once I exit.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
You.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sophia Martinez. For the question I was going to ask you, how did you get from, renovating your dad's house to kind of streamlining a process and going into like a business, if that makes sense? Like what's that gap in between?
Sure. So it's funny, he called it a pilot, like I was piloting with my dad, but it didn't really feel like a pilot. It felt completely like in panic mode, right? But when I went to school for business, I went to St. Leo University for business. So I was always very entrepreneurial in the back end. And I've been with my husband now for about 20 years. And I pitched him, at least in the last 20 years, 3 or 4 different ideas. And he's like, no, that's not going to happen. No, that, because he would be an angel investor, right? But the reality is that when you get into business, the business model of it, I'm sure you're going to have a great teacher to teach you all that also, right? You have to do your due diligence and understand that I knew the market was a 300 billion opportunity. I knew by 2030 we're going to be outnumbered by our aging population. And so when I have hard metrics and data like that, it was very easy for me to create a marketing plan, create the brand, create the logo. And I created that from scratch, from all up here, right? I did it all on my own that first year. I did sales on my own. I did marketing on my own. I did accounting on my own. I did project coordination on my own. I did everything on my own. So it was easier I didn't have a mentor probably until a year in either. So I always recommend that if you are to take that entrepreneurial leap, you ask for help, right? There should be no ego there. You have to ask for your help. You have to ask for a mentor. And if you look at somebody, it could be me, it could be anybody on this great OWL app, right? If you need a mentor or help, that's where you should go and ask for it, because it's not that they're smarter than you. Never think that people are smarter than you. They're just more experienced than you in that one part. And I feel like if I would have gotten a mentor a little earlier on, I wouldn't have had as many growing pains.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, we got another question from the internet too. I'll chime in with. So, do you subcontract and then manage the companies that have completed the work you mentioned, or does your company cover the whole process, including the actual construction?
Yes, we are. Oh, that was your question too. Yeah, we're a general contractor, so we have the GC license. So half of them are full-time employees, and the other half, we can't grow nationwide with full-time employees everywhere just yet as we grow. But we do have some 1099 subcontractors that go through level 2 background checks through our Senior Proof University. And we as contractors have project managers have project managed a job. So it's not like we have a job and we sell it out to somebody and they do it. No, we project manage and quality control it from beginning to end. And that's how we're still 5-star rated after 10,000 installations.
That's hard to do in construction.
Yeah, I think we're like at 4.9, but I think it's spam.
Close enough.
Close enough.
Well, my name's Justice. That was my question. My other question on top of that was, do you guys intend on staying that way, or do you intend on kind of like working with companies in the future that go through that program that you mentioned?
The senior proof
Entirely, yeah.
university?
And then you guys are just kind of like a company that places the services on it.
Yeah, we've considered like licensing, maybe not franchising, because I feel like franchising, I lose too much
lose
of the
that aspect
quality.
of it,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's a good question. But I have thought about licensing the brand and the logo and go through senior proof, like charge for that education portion of it. That is a model, but we will start figuring that out. We're in 5 states right now, so once we start getting into bigger states,
Larger,
especially
yeah.
lower, we're going to have to, the workforce, the quality, I rather grow slow and steady, right, and have exceptional hospitality and amazing reviews and happy customers than just go nationwide to all 33 states that I want to go to, and then the quality is garbage.
Lost. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much. Great question.
Okay, I'm going to bring up something you brought up earlier in the show. You talked about burnout and then switching gears, and Kevin referenced it, and then you all of a sudden create a startup, which is way hard to do, of course, because now you got to do logo design, create your own systems. So for everybody listening, just can you explain the difference of when you have your own brand, the passion behind it, and how it's not the same burnout when you're working 9 to 5, right? I think it's important to understand that you go from burned out to then switching gears to be super excited and passionate literally a week later, right? So can you kind of just explain that shift and that pivot?
So when I quit my job, my husband said I was so much happier. Like he just said, you were just like a different person. You were so happy. And I didn't see it because I was just so burnt out. I was so burnt out.
You needed that app that Lily was talking about that tells you to quit your job.
That's
Yeah,
right.
you did.
Yeah. And luckily, God put a good person in front of me to tell me to do that, and she supported me to do that. And I'm glad she did. But the reality is that the why, which I'm sure he's going to teach you about also, what is your why, right? The why has to equally be as big as a vision, because there will be days that you question everything about what the decisions that you just finished making. You're not a real entrepreneur unless you're staying up in the middle of the night, seeing how you're going to make payroll the next day. That is a real entrepreneur. Okay. And I say that because there was, I'm not going to drop names, but there was somebody from the healthcare system that started his own entrepreneurial journey. And he's like, you and I were like in the same, like we're like the same. And I'm like, we're not the same. We are not the same. You have multi-million-dollar money. You already come from a big family fund. Like, we are not the same. And the bootstrapping part of it for 3.5 years, meaning bootstrapping means that I did not get any investor money. I pulled $200,000 from my HELOC from my house. So every house has a mortgage. I pulled $200,000 out of my own home. So imagine walking into my own home every single day with a 3, and at that moment, he was 4 and a 1-year-old. So now I have 2 kids at this point, knowing that my house may get lost. Like, I may lose this house if this doesn't hit, right? And that is the resilience of entrepreneurship. But knowing that you have to bet on yourself before anybody else, before Lowe's betted on me, before the Department of Elder Affairs betted on me, I was maybe biased. And like, I believed in me before anybody else believed in me. And I think that's really the entrepreneurial heart.
Wow. Yeah, that's the real entrepreneurial way. I know a few people who have done that. That is the all in, burn it to the ground, risk be damned. We're going in on this. Well, this has been a great way to kick off this season of Shrimp Tank, Sydney. Fantastic episode. Thanks for joining us here today at Florida Atlantic University.
Okay.
Thank you guys. Thank you for having me.
Take care. We'll be back next Wednesday at 1 o'clock.